It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Mariam Longa, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. My son is turning 10 tomorrow.
Oh, the Big 10.
Yes, the Big 10, the double digits.
Oh.
We'll discuss that later, but I mean, I've just been in a reflective mode. Like, I remember for me it was 6, when he was turning 6. I don't know why 6 just seems like a big thing for me. But 10 also feels like,
it is a big deal.
We're moving into our own room, so we're beginning to have, our space and our independence. And I'm seeing him. I can see glimpses of the sort of man he's becoming. Like, wow, this is me. I'm telling you. But it's just a wonderful gift. And then somehow you also imagine what your parents were going through, just raising you. And I just thank God. I thank God.
That's good. Are we having a black party?
There's
landmarks.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Landmarks, spiritually and everything. We're praying. We'll do something. We'll take he and his friends out during the week because he resumes school tomorrow.
So happy birthday, Naifogi.
Yeah.
So we'll do that tomorrow. Thank you, Chef Praise. I think I should drink water. I don't have
Don't collect my banter.
where I am.
Don't collect my banter.
Please, banter.
I will be
banter it together now.
Who wants to start?
Let me come to BC. Start the proceed.
So, this morning, I like to come early to this table so I can sit down and put my thoughts together. As I walked in through that door, the smell of the aroma of the okporoko was choking me. I was wondering, who is doing this kind of thing on Wake Up today? Why are these people this wicked and heartless? They will just mesmerize our noses and then they will leave. And then I sat down and I saw somebody turning semo. The thing was still, I just stood up. Ejo, I need to lick soup. I just had 7 this morning. I am good. If I ginger too much, please be pinching me to calm down.
See, don't forget to mention that this chef is a male.
He's a male chef.
And for the first time in a long time, on Wake Up, we had a proper African breakfast.
Yeah. Oha.
The kind of breakfast that sets me, I just want to believe,
with palm oil, palm kernel.
Just remember your breath mints, child.
Am I kissing you?
Oh, my God.
Hey, your excitement, please. Let's not forget to take our vaccines. Me, I am really, really into these vaccines. Please, COVID-19 is still very much around. Let us play our role in combating this virus by getting our vaccines as soon as we can. Please, don't take it for granted. The first phase, some people did it. Others took the back seat. This time around, don't lose that opportunity. Try to get your vaccines as soon as possible. And if you need more information, go to viralfacts.com. They can also give you information. All the questions will be answered on that website. Okay. Anything else, ladies? Anything happened? Today is Tuesday.
Yeah. So
we have 1 more minute to banter.
It's the childhood cancer awareness.
Oh, yes.
So I partner with Doctors Cancer Foundation, and they graciously gave us shirts to start the awareness. And I'm hoping that people would be more aware about various forms of cancers. While we focus on adults, they happen to children. For children, they are treatable. They can actually just, recover and have a good life. People have recovered and lived for 40, 45 years after without anything, and some even longer. So in your corners of your house, please try and partner, support, no matter how small your contributions to helping treat children, because their chances of survival is higher than anything.
Thank you very much, Nima, for reminding us about that. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Conflicting orders. 3 judges to face NJC panel. Mieti Allah to sue Southern governors for open grazing bill. An open grazing ban. VAT row deepens. Nigeria's wild polio-free status not threatened. Osinbajo heads health sector reform team. Sit at home crippling Southeast governors lament. Guinea junta digs in despite worldwide condemnation, and Igbo's case for hearing as Benin courts resume. Okay, story, major headline?
Major headline. The chief judge, summoned the chief justices of about 6 states that gave the conflicting judgments, and there will be a chief, the NJC will have a conference next week to look into deeper into the issues of those conflicting judgments with the 3 judges in question who gave the judgments again as major priority. And in the same voice, the Chief Justice also addressed those involved in investigations, as the security agencies generally, saying that, failure to do proper investigations water down prosecution. And it seems like, the justice system is not tight, whereas you'd failed in your procedures of investigation, or maybe deliberately remove one angle, but he cautioned them, and, he's trying to get these agencies that are directly under him, which is the judiciary, as well as the prosecution, the investigators and security agencies, to do the right thing. Most of the time, personally, I felt I had a defense for the judges, the 3 judges in question, because this is what you bring before a judge that they would, adjudicate upon. But he also mentioned those proper filing and investigations of criminal matters as well. So that was the outcome. We're waiting to see the outcome of the NJC entirely.
Okay. So the Health Sector Reform Committee has been approved by the President, and it's for a period of 6 months. It will be headed by the Vice President, and there will be other members who have been pulled from the public and the private sector. So this Health Sector Reform Committee was approved on the back of a health sector diagnostic review report that was developed by Vesta Healthcare Partners and the Federal Ministry of Health. And their job would be to review the reforms adopted in the last 2 decades, review lessons learned, and factor them into the development of the new health sector reform program. I mean, this is at the time where we know NARD is on strike, Johesu is threatening, so this is a good time that we have this committee set up, and we hope that they are able to address these various issues that have bedeviled our health sector. Yeah.
So let me take the IPOP story. So we know that since the 9th of August, IPOP had issued order to the Indigo to have a sit at home every Mondays till their leader has been released. The Ebonyi State Governor, Dave Umahi, is saying yesterday that they're actually carrying out the sit at home out of fear, not of compliance, because a lot of Indigo people are those people who like to work, do businesses, and earn a daily living. But because of the fear that hoodlums are, hijacking the whole process, and if you are caught outside, you can be harmed, a lot of people are sitting at home. And he is like crying out to the federal government that the security agencies need to do something about it. There was also a truck that was loaded with spare parts, worth millions of naira, moving from one state to the other, and was set ablaze by hoodlums who were outside trying to enforce the sit at home. So he's complaining that this is going to bring destruction to the economy of the Igbo people, and the federal government needs to do something about this.
Did you mention the name of the new DG NCDC?
Oh, yes, I didn't. Her name is... Her name is Ifedayo Morayo Aditi.
Just checking.
She's the new DG of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control.
I was wondering, did you forget to mention
I put it down because I was like, oh, Morayo.
Okay, moving on to the Punch. APC multiple court cases. Agreed members there. Buni panel compiles litigations list. Picture here. Protest rocks Otta. Over bad roads, residents block Abeokuta, Lagos Highway. How I escaped from gunmen who killed Shore's brother, says woman. Illegal admission, FG compiles errands versus list. Stop preferential cut-off marks for northerners, El Rufai tells JAMB. CSOs knock FIRS over proposed social media tax. Conflicting judgments, NJC invites 3 judges, 1 CJs. ASU fresh strike threatened, causing panic. No agreement yet, says federal government. Okay. Which story are we taking?
Who are the residents? Okay, yes, I have this Otta story. So they said the scores of travelers were stranded along the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway on Monday because there was a protest that was going on. A lot of youths were outside with their placards protesting against the bad roads in Otta. And they were saying that it's time for the state's Governor Jide Sanwo-Olu to take over and do something about it. Already, yes, and Dapo Abiodun as well. Okay. So they said 2 of them need to work together to do that road. We always have that issue in that area where this one says my state stops here, and the borders is a borderline town, so to speak. And so they were saying that because I think Governor Dapo had said earlier that some federal workers are going to come and take, on the study the road and see what needs to be done. So last week, some of those workers were there to do that. But till yesterday, nothing has happened. And the youth were very upset about it. They blocked the roads. They said they can't. Last year, 2020, they did the same protest and nothing was done. Now they want something to be done about the roads.
Okay.
Yes, federal government through the Ministry of Health is blowing really hot air and saying that stiff penalties will be meted out to tertiary institutions for admission racketeering and those who bypass the central admission processing system of JAMB. And he says that these heads of institutions will be held personally liable, whether they're in office or not. So we know that the central admission processing system is created and it's an automated system to safeguard the integrity of the admission process and ensure all errors and biases are eliminated. But institutions have found ways to give people admissions outside these caps. And so now government is saying they're going to take real action against any institution found to be liable. And any institution that issues admission letter to candidates outside caps will be punished for gross indiscipline and fraud. So listen up.
So the human... Okay, go ahead.
You want to take human?
I was saying the human interest story about the woman who was escaped from the same government that killed Shore's brother, Emanuela Anyanwu. She was saying that she was with them, and she went. The kid abducted them. They had asked her for money, asked her about herself. She said she was going to bury her husband, and they asked her for 10 million naira. She said she only has about 500,000. No, this what I have here is Anyanwu escaped from the hoodlums.
It's Reverend Sister Anyanwu. Okay, I took it in another paper. Maybe there's a conflict.
Okay, maybe there's a conflict, but she was on her way to Imo State to bury her husband, and she offered them 500,000 naira, and they rejected it. And then there was an opportunity. She found that she escaped, and then she saw a master started running towards it, and she went to the police station. That's how they found her and rescued her.
So the chairperson of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, while engaging the Senate Committee, Joint Committee working on medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, and heads of revenue-generating agencies of the federal government, was seeking the approval of that committee and the National Assembly to further amend the Finance Act to cover social media businesses. What he said, you are aware of the issues of digital economy and the challenges of policing digital taxpayers like Twitter and Facebook. So we are coming up with new rules and provisions that the National Assembly should passionately look into so that we can bring them under our tax net. But the CSOs have come for him. The director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, Awa Rafsanjani, went at him immediately saying that this would affect businesses and startups and that they should not even start now to further expand to cover those.
Who has the JAMB story? What did you take?
I took that.
Yes, please, can we?
I already took that.
Oh, you already?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I apologize. I wasn't feeling it. Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Let me see how much time we have. FIRS loses Lagos, joins tax war as Rivers digs in. Nnamdi Kanu stay-at-home threatens economy of Southeast, says Umahi. Mieti Allah begs Buhari National Assembly to stop implementation of anti-open grazing laws by states. Military action not best solution to herdsmen crisis, says Gumi. Conflicting orders making our job difficult, says INEC. APC compiling list of litigants for next sanctions, says Akwanu Doche. Governor Sultan Khan call for prosecution of terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers. NJC OK's probe of 3 judges for granting ex-parte orders. An anti-open grazing, illegal firearms bearers, 21-year jail term in Lagos Assembly. Okay, which story are we taking here?
Headline again. So the FIRS lost the judgment to stay execution on the judgment that Rivers State got. So now Rivers State moved immediately. Wike immediately moved to start to enforce collection of VAT within the state. But Lagos State, in their own way, people that were silent, yet they had the first and second reading of their own...
In one day?
In one day.
Okay.
Of their own VAT Act bill in the state.
That was fast.
So they too are looking to, So I think this is about the states now trying to enforce, ensure this... what have been restructuring that the people have been asking for. States are now looking, since we cannot have it discussed holistically, let's be going little by little to get it and have a proper federal status.
The debate was quite interesting yesterday. Very interesting. In Lagos State debate, it was quite interesting when you see lawmakers.
I know someone came on this seat and told us why this would not be good for the whole of Nigeria. It would serve some states like River State and Lagos State, but all the other states may suffer.
But then but those are also big brothers to other states around them. So they can always do so. That is, I think the smaller states around them will be more trusting that Lagos State would support than maybe the federal government hasn't supported them. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Let's go
closer to them.
Let's go on a break. When we return, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still in Vanguard. Ma'am, you took a major
okay, let me take Mieti Allah. So they are saying that they are vowing to take legal actions in Nigeria and at international court if southern governors do not stop the implementing of the open grazing law. And according to them, they said the law is satanic and governors are really ill-informed about what is causing the insecurity in their states. So they need to, what they are appealing for is that they have a round table where they can have conversations. They need to have series of dialogue so that the governors will understand that it's not the open grazing that is causing the insecurity that they have in the states. And so they are asking the National Assembly and the President to stop the criminalization of open grazing that is actually targeted at Fulani pastoralists. That's it. Then I have another story, Gumi, Sheikh Gumi.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yes, good. Who had spoken. So he gave a long list of what he perceives to be happening in our political system. So he started by saying that, for instance, that the military actions against insurgency, against the bandits, is like before have worsened the insecurity situation that we have. And that is not time for us to go in with all the force. We need to have dialogues. We need to have, like the United Nations, have a round table and talk to these people, like the way they solved the case in amnesty with Niger Delta. Yes, what we need now is reconciliation. We need rehabilitation. We need amnesty. And we need to be able to have talks with the young people and understand what exactly is happening. According to him, he said that in 2000 AD, Zamfara State, started this included Sharia law into what the normal laws that we have. And if they had taken their time to, give education, economic empowerment in that Sharia law, it would have become as strong as the states that we have, the Arab states. Yeah. But the same secular countries fought against it, and today now the place is now a hub for bandits, for killer headsmen, and all of that. But right now, all we need to do is to have conversations and rehabilitate these people. That's the only solution that he sees.
To echo here, I guess he's saying that we can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So yes, we tried the offensive where we are trying to attack them, but he's now saying, let's engage these people. Let's try to even have a conversation. Maybe we should try that option and even see what happens.
He's saying state governor saying he regrets having that sort of relationship with the bandits.
Not only him, all of them, all the governors in the...
So they cannot be trusted to even keep to their side of the deal. These are bandits, these are terrorists. They have no integrity. So how do you have that kind of
strike a deal with the head of a group, and then, an objecting group forms again. So how many factions will you continue to negotiate with? I think
I was going to take El Rufai's story, because he was saying that JAMB should stop the preferential scores given to northern Nigeria. According to him, let me quote him, he says, the North has always been behind in education. We've continuously been disadvantaged region right from independence, even though we've been giving preferences. So JAMB scores and all that should not give preferential students to the northern, and that's actually made... It has not helped us. In fact, it has made our people lazy. He says that their intention is to stop education in Kaduna State, and that's why currently all the schools are closed. However, they will not let them win, and they're working with security operatives to ensure that schools will be open as soon as they secure the entire perimeter of Kaduna State and ensure that the lives and property of the teachers and students are intact. Okay, let's move on to another paper, Daily Trust. Heavy clampdown on bandits in Zamfara. CJN reads Riot Act, cautions chief judges on ex parte orders, conflicting rulings. Buhari constitutes health sector reform committee, names Oshimbaji chairman. Commuters stranded as protests rocks Lagos Abeokuta highway. Cholera kills 2,141 in 23 states, says FTC. And the unrest, FG governors, religious leaders move to save Plateau. Okay.
Yeah, so I have Zamfara State. We remember that on the 3rd of September, it was declared, sorry, let me read this properly here. So they had asked the Nigerian Communication Commission had mandated that all telecommunication operators to stop extending their services to that state. And also markets were closed and just a lot of economic activities were asked to be stopped. And this was in their bid to fight this continuous banditry and kidnapping and insurgency in that area. And they're happy to say that many bandits have been killed. Their foot soldiers have also been killed as well in multiple raids in the state since this ban has been placed. And so they're happy about that, and people are also happy. And, you know, 6 months before, the government had also declared Zamfara State a no-fly zone. So they're really doing everything that they can to make sure that they attack this. And so far, it looks like it is working out, and the people are happy. Some of the people that were spoken to, you know, they said that the bandits have sort of brainwashed them into protesting against government. So that is where we are talking of educating our people, empowering our people, so that bandits, people with ill intentions, cannot come and infiltrate our communities.
Okay, I was going to add to the story BC took earlier concerning the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, because actually the governor of Ogun State have engaged the minister, Raji Fashola, and they gave a commitment on Tuesday during a teleconference with the state government and the minister's team. According to them, there will be a team sent there on Thursday to begin assessment preparatory for the commencement of the rehabilitation work. So they've heard the protest, they've heard the people, and work is going to immediately start. So people in that area can be rest assured that federal governments will fix that Lagos, Abeokuta, Ota Road.
Okay. Yeah. So the cholera.
Yeah.
Quickly. So according to the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, they have issued a report saying that 65,145 suspected cases have been recorded within the period under review. And the disease has continued to ravage a lot of states. So they went ahead to mention, Kano records 10,343 suspected cases. He said 9,935 cases have been treated and discharged, while 153 cases are presently active in 11 local governments with over 200 fatalities. So they've gone around to Katsina State, said the death toll in Katsina rose to 150. They talked about Kaduna as well, saying that cholera is ravaging 23 local governments in Kaduna, amongst other states. But there are low fatalities in states like Bayelsa and Osun State. And Lagos, on its own, is saying that they are going to arrest anybody found, defecating in open places as one of the ways to curb.
And when you arrest them, also make sure that you have made provisions for where they can do it when they are outside. Because usually, where would they go?
There's nowhere.
There's nowhere. So
they
punish on one hand.
Growing up, not as many gas stations. There aren't.
They are don't get that many.
On the Badagry Expressway, I can give you like 3.
No, Badagry. Just walk down the street. Everywhere should have somewhere you can go to the toilet.
So you can take advantage of convenience within certain public places. Yeah. Ask, and they will allow you. But there are public toilets provided in motor parks. People just can't stand them.
What about the mobile toilet?
We have to run.
That's what we're asking.
We have to go on a commercial break. Let's move on quickly to the Nigerian Tribune. Okay. Any other story we've not taken? Let's find one we've not taken. Don't use military force. Okay. Showore, I believe those who kidnapped us were Fulani herders, says victim. That's the story you took earlier. I think we've taken most of the stories here. Yeah. You're going to check
the story in Daily Trust. So a delegation from the federal government, state governors and religious leaders went to visit the state governor of Plateau State, and this is in support and also to have the conversation concerning the communal clashes and killings that's been happening over time in that state. The religious leaders, the co-chairpersons of Nigerian Interreligious Council, NIREC, that's the Sultan of Sokoto, and the president of Kano were there. And the president of Kano was saying that he is a bit saddened that some of the religious leaders and political leaders, instead of trying to bring calm with their words, they are even inciting people. And so we should pay attention to the sort of things that we say. The Governors Forum, the head, the governor of Ekiti State, also said that they're here to support the governor of Plateau State in what he's doing in solving this issue. But he was also asked to make sure that the criminal elements are prosecuted, arrested and prosecuted. People need to see that justice is being done. People need to know that when criminals have committed a crime, they are arrested for it and they are punished for it. And so we hope that all these efforts put together would bring lasting peace in Plateau State. And they're asking the people of Plateau State, please do not go out on protest. Security operatives are out, and they say that anyone who does not follow the proper guidelines or just moving and do your business may be arrested. So let's be careful.
We have to rub on that. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, we talk about hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will...
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so I think this last weekend has just gave us a whole week of shows. This week alone, just from the happenings from last weekend in Lagos State. This whole week is settled in Nigeria. This whole week is settled for topics because there's so much to learn and discuss about. Now, we've discussed this topic before, but we had to revisit it because, as I said, it was trending over the weekend. This new jaw-dropping, heart-wrenching story. So the question is, should DNA be made compulsory right after birth? Or should it be a decision between a couple without raising any ill feelings? What are your thoughts on this? I mean, this happened because a woman was accusing her husband of assuming the children she gave birth to are his. That, did I tell you they are yours? Did you even ask me?
This is inside marriage.
Inside the marriage. But did you
ask me whether the child is yours?
But did you even ask me? But how would you assume that the children are yours? So we took it in and said, let's start asking ourselves, would you are pregnant with your husband, would you expect that your husband will ask you, hey, auntie, this pregnancy I carry, is it my own? I mean, is that a normal thing? I mean, of course, I don't want to sound all funny here, but I want us to borrow our
It's funny.
But I want us to really have real-life conversation because I don't know what's happening around us.
You know what? When this thing happened, just because of how ridiculous everything is becoming, I've said to my husband, you can do a DNA because what is happening? Who are these people? You know, that everyone is just coming out and just speaking anyhow about important, serious, life-impacting issues. What are we about? How dare you? How dare you be married to someone and then you say to the person, how dare you even come out in public and say such a thing? You should be ashamed of yourself. Terribly ashamed of yourself. You are insulting the man, insulting the children that you have brought into this world.
Insulting the women folk.
I'm just, how do you do that to your children? That's why, you know, people have been advocating for mental health checks for people who are going to have children. Some people do not deserve, you know, to parent children. What is this about? How are you going around and making that sort of claim? See, I'm happy that many Nigerians, you know, responded to that. And I guess men just need to be more careful. Women need to be more careful with the partners that they choose. So I don't believe that you won't have seen some certain signs in such a person like that. I cannot believe that this person that says something like that will say it out of the blue. There has to be something in that person. So that's when we say, look for kind people, for respectful people. This is what we're talking about. So that things that are important, they understand the gravity of it and not treat it anyhow.
Some men are attracted to that feisty, saucy kind of women that just,
feisty is not disrespectful.
Thank you. Feisty can be. Well, not really. There's this thing that turns you on when you have a woman, that kind of crazy woman in your soul. I mean, I'm just saying this on the side. But the point is, the point I'm trying to make is that, listen, let's have a conversation on this issue of DNA. Because, as I said, we've talked about it before, where we had real-life stories on this table, where we know somebody who asked his wife or his girlfriend at the time to go and do DNA for all the children, and found out 2.
No,
remember, 2 were not 2 out of 7 were not his.
Yes.
We on this table, we talked about it. So we've had all sorts of stories. But since this news broke, I know of a husband who is now second guessing.
Hey.
He said, Maria, I won't lie to you. He sent me a DM on my Instagram. He said, Maria, I won't lie to you. I have 4 children. I believe that 2 might not be mine.
Oh.
So I can screen grab and send to you, because that is the reality. So men are now looking again. Let me be. Am I sure? How do we get here?
You see, I can understand the man needing to do a DNA for a child within his marriage. Maybe when you traveled, when you're not around. But you see this large market of firstborns, pregnancy, marriage by pregnancy. It should be law. Once a girl just comes to you,
I'm pregnant.
I am pregnant. Born the child. Because I heard my aunties in those days in Benin, they would say, I collect Piki, I no collect Mama. And it never made sense. It was about the character of the woman. As we were growing up, they would say, just take care of your chastity. These things, this sanctity of marriage and lineage, that we have compromised so much. The conversation we find difficult to have. Don't judge her. Don't this her. Don't that her. These are not judgments. It is securing and saving yourself this kind of embarrassment, and especially the children, the embarrassment in the future. How do you marry my brother and ask me why on the naming ceremony they did not ask you whether the child is your own? They need to gather you and beat. That's the truth. We are doing naming and you did not say anything. 5 years after I asked him, did we ask you?
Why did you ask him?
Oh, God.
What kind of ridiculous statement is that? It's because we've lost shame. We've lost responsibility. That kind of woman, you will hide, bury your head in shame. You will not have voice. People that will come and say, pity her. That we should talk to your husband, not you. Whether it was a leaked message or not, that you even type it. You did not read it before you press send. Oh, my God.
It's painful. You know, on a lighter note, I always suspect people who are able to mix food. So you go to a restaurant, on a lighter note, so you go to a restaurant and then you want to swallow, you buy a goosey, you buy okra, you buy vegetable in the same plate and you mix. At the end of the day, you see, it goes into mixing children. But that's on a lighter note.
Oh, my God.
But I think the problem is that we have forgotten how to be ashamed. We have forgotten the cultures and the values that we had. And it's not just this generation. Let's not
see, let me punch hole in your argument. Because you say do it with your chest.
Not mix children with your chest. Are you stupid?
She never said something about you.
No.
If you do wrong, do it with your chest.
Not mix children and deceive a full-blown man who you claim to love before. No, I never say that. And I never do that. And I'm one person who will stand by going forward. After giving birth in the hospital, the DNA should happen. It should be a law because this is becoming unbearable. This is becoming the wicked. I wanted to even start by saying that even in the olden days, we had women who mixed children. We had it. We had grandmothers who had children from... Yes, we had it. Brothers, so, but because it's now... we're not in a global village where any little thing, everybody can be aware of what is happening here and happening there and it's also misleading our young girls, our young men and women who now see values as nothing anybody should talk about. There's no point. You hear them say, I don't even want to get married. I'll just be a baby mama and I'll be fine. I don't want to do this. And I'm wondering, what happens to our children? We're raising children in this generation. How do we protect them? We, in our homes, are trying as much as possible to show them what it means to love, what it means to have a home, what it means to bond. We are trying, but we're going to release them to schools and go and meet other children whose parents are not even making that effort. What happens to our children? So this matter now, as I'm speaking right now, in the hospitals, it should be a law to protect the sanity of the man. To protect the sanity of the couple and the children.
Wouldn't you feel insulted if your own husband is asking you to go and do DNA?
I will be insulted. Don't even ask me. Carry the children, go and do and come and give me results.
At this point,
don't ask me.
No, me, I will still monetize the consequences.
I will get insulted.
I will get insulted.
But compensate me.
I'll be offended
because I'm
I will not be offended anymore.
I won't be offended again.
So I get that, and it's because of the situation on ground that has brought about this conversation. If this was before the audacity of just saying anything, I would feel insulted. We've had conversations like this before, and I felt that would be really insulting. How would you assume? But obviously, they have told us that you cannot assume. So now,
your husband is assuming you're a slut.
Yeah.
Your husband is assuming that you are.
I don't see it that way. That is what somebody has said to the man. Why did you assume that I'm a?
So I have to go on a break.
Of this relationship.
I have to go on a break. When we come back, because there's still that school of thought that says, I want your wife to get pregnant before you get married. Now that school of thought.
Now that victim pass for this table. Can I laugh for this one?
When we come back, we'll discuss that angle. Stay with us to break back.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still on this matter of DNA. And before the break, we're talking about the fact that many families insist that their son's wife-to-be should get pregnant before they get married. So that is evidence that she's fertile. Now, with these stories we're hearing of DNA, because it seems like some women are bringing pregnancy from outside and say, okay, well, at least I'm pregnant. So are these things that have to be reviewed? Or are there justifiable reasons why we must continue?
me to enjoy this one. So women who come with fertility issues, it's like men don't have their own. When we hear our people start to respond. Someone said, now Lagos speaking, maybe they don't abort belly. They don't come out in womb. All sorts of ridiculous, heart-wrenching, salt-rubbing in the wound kind of comments for the woman who is already dealing with something she did not prepare for. And then some people now thought they were wise. And they're called, the woman will now go, they will be at it. You're no respect has been paid to your family, and you're trying to get pregnant. And it didn't solve any problem. What it brought about is things like this.
Yes.
So you say I should bring belly, I should get belly. I have proven my fertility. You did not ask me if you are the owner of the child. This is the kind of thing that's brought. And I hope those generations, our grand generations who thought it was the wisest of things to say, are seeing it now. There's no fertility issue you have in the world that does not have solution. Surrogacy, adoption, all of those things have been explored now. But the solution that they, in their wisdom, thought to do was this. Yeah. And we had our forms of DNAs. Okay.
Let me take this call. Demola, are you there? You're live. Hello, Demola, are you there? Hello? Then we lost our call.
Yes, so I wanted to say that, aside from this Bele issue, bringing Bele before you are married, we also have issues where you have not finally broken off. So those girls who have like 2 or 3 boyfriends, then they now finally pick one that has proposed to them to marry. They've not cut off. They've not broken the strings. They are still, so you're preparing for wedding on one hand and you're still collecting on the other hand. And then you collect Bele into the marriage. And that there were statistics now to show that most first children are 75%. 75% are practically not.
They do the data from
all
this funny data. I beg you, leave that matter.
75% of firstborns.
So I think
firstborns.
Yes, I think we need to start advising ourselves. We need to start being real. What I see is a lot of women have over the years felt that men have always suppressed them, have always bullied them. So they use this as a way to get back at men. But if you are in a loving relationship, a loving marriage, a loving situationship, whatever it is, I think it's right that the foundations are true. It's based on truth. So if you're contemplating, you're not sure who owns this baby, why don't you just do the check so that you don't carry Obukoko surname and give to Okonkwo? It doesn't make sense.
Let me take this call. Obukoko. Demola, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Talking to you after a long time. My wife calls you people my lady because she knows I'm so much in love with the program.
Thank you, sir.
What we are discussing man, nature, and technology. All this oppression that we say women are suffering is because man has always had an aspiration. Can I confirm I am the father of my children? That's why they will say in the olden days. That's why all these regulations that we call humiliating, that is now tantamount to humiliating women, comes up. I want to be sure I'm the owner of my children. So a woman cannot go to toilet, a woman cannot go to work. But now, because God, in His mercy, when He asks us to go and multiply, He tries to promote automation. And in the process, He made it a little bit interesting. So, and the nature of man is capitalizing on that. And we are now discussing technology. With DNA, you know exactly who is the parent of the children.
Right.
What we need to do is for us to encourage DNA as a test if necessary.
Yes.
But now,
Okay. All right. Then, you see, but Mariam, where does that part of I love you so much that I would accept whatever it is? Like, where does a woman feel that I cannot fully disclose to you that, okay, this baby I'm carrying might not be yours because I was dating XYZ before? You know, what happened to true love, real love, that unconditional love, that no matter what it is, I would accept you and the child? Where did that go?
Well, I know that there are many people who are actually in that sort of situation. The man is even aware of the other person, that he sometimes even aware that they were both cheating on the other person with. Do you understand? So the man and the woman that finally got married realized that he was with a girlfriend of the man that maybe has the child, and some families have taken them on. There are some people who became widowed, that have been married by men knowing that this child is, but the foundation is based on truth and full disclosure.
Yeah, full disclosure.
So the thing is, it is hard when you are made, I mean, anytime I'm talking about, I just remember who told you to assume. It is hard for someone to come from a place of deceit, especially deceit from a long time. And then it's even harder for when you now confront the person said, who told you to assume? People have found themselves in situations like this where they were so sure, do a DNA, I'm sure this child is yours. And then it shows that the child is not his. I said, I truly, God knows my heart. I really thought it was yours. But this is someone who is sad that this has happened, who's sorry that this has happened, and is hoping that they can salvage it. A man can even come from that part and say, okay, in fact, I was so aware of everything until when we got married. I can see how this may have happened. And then he can decide if this is something he would be willing to carry on with. But to lie to somebody, to deliberately and purposefully lie to somebody about this, I don't know how.
Let me take Yakub. Yakub, are you there?
I'm there. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
And good morning to you all. Murayo, let me take on from what Miriam said earlier, that she looked for her husband's face and said, you can go ahead and do the DNA. Miriam, it is not every woman can say that. It's because you're so sure of yourself. Murayo, if DNA is conducted, especially in Lagos today, a lot of homes, let me just say maybe 45% of homes will go astray. Let me just give you a typical example here, quickly, because of the time. Morayo, I sit in my office one day, a very beautiful woman walked into my office. Morayo, and then this woman, I know this woman in my area, and then her husband is so rich, very, very rich indeed. And then this woman told me that, Alaji, come, please, I need a young guy that can manage the other room for me. I said, how? Because I've never had such thing like that in my life. I said, what happened? And then to cut the story short, when she narrated her story to me, he said he has got married for 5 years now, and then has never enjoyed the other room for one day. I said, what happened? When she told me that story, I said, okay, calm down. You don't need any other guy. In that kind of a situation, if I should be in position of giving that very particular woman one guy to manage the other room, what do you think is going to come out of that other room? So what I did is that I said, okay, I have something to give you. But how do you want to tell your husband that you got this thing from Alaji? Please, before you give it to your husband, let your husband know that you got this thing from me before he used it. And then the husband know me as well in my area, and they are very, very rich indeed. So she collected this thing, took this thing to her husband, and then Believe me, you, up to today, me and that man, we are very, very close friends now. And then the other room.
Okay, help
All right,
me
so
get
Yakub, you help me
well done.
in that area. Okay,
Yeah.
when we have this kind of, we'll come to you. But there's a part there's something I wanted to address, Nima. This culture of secrecy, that we just, even if you're married to a woman that brings in a child from somebody else, there's that hush-hush about it where you just don't want anybody to know. And there's this culture of secrecy. I mean, I think we need to start imbibing that full disclosure culture. Like, no matter what it is, let us share. Let people know that, okay, 2 of my children are not mine, and I've accepted it. I mean, is it that men are not magnanimous enough with their hearts to accept mistakes of women in their lives?
Let's not blame the women who still have shame, who think that this will completely destroy their character and defame them.
Maybe it shouldn't.
No.
Maybe we should change that culture, Nima. Maybe we shouldn't.
No, let me explain. Let me explain, because we're the receiving end of this conversation now. And yet we're the ones in our agenda to assert ourselves and our agenda, denying certain roles. We are the guardians of this. When they say that woman be gate, close the gate, if it not open, men have been known generations over and over to approach women. And suddenly now we have women with the boldness approaching men as well, saying, like Yakub just said. You understand? See, somebody has to be the custodian of this, whether we accept it or not. I know somebody who said to the family, I just need to go. And the next door, in their face room and face me apartment where she moved to. And they were wondering why. She was pregnant. It didn't make sense. And she just thought, Shajekin BCB by Noja and Shekomo. The other one was saying, no, I'm the owner of the child. You are married to me. Say, don't worry, let me just stay here first. I know what I'm saying. Until she had that child, when they saw the child, they understood why she moved. He faced me and faced her. When I was listening to this story, I thought it was outrageous. But now, sitting here, in retrospect, a lot of things make sense now. The talks that our mothers and those old school people had with us.
But Nima, isn't it liberating for a woman to say, okay, I've made a mistake and face it and stop being ashamed of it?
You know what has happened over the years? No. Wait. Then you move on. Wait, first of all, we are human beings, whether a man or a woman. And because we are humans, we can make mistakes.
Yeah.
Mistakes often happen.
Exactly.
But the truth is, our men need to have more empathy when we make those mistakes. Because over the years, just because we want to protect ourselves, we make that mistake and we keep quiet.
Yes.
You know that the baby you are carrying is not your husband's own. But you cannot face the consequences of telling him because he will not put himself in your position. Yes, but they can make their mistakes and tell you boldly. Sorry, darling.
Don't say,
I'm just saying why women have been known to hide these things over the years. Because society will crucify them for that mistake. But men, let me tell you people now, you need to tell yourselves the truth. We all have the capacity to make the same mistakes. So if it happens, listen, empathize, understand, and accept. Only that way can women now boldly tell you, it don't happen. No, this is not your own.
Thank you, BC, because when men make those mistakes, we accept it.
Not all men have the audacity to look their women in the face and declare an
family.
Wait now, if it was all men, why are we doing dust-to-dust revelations? When they are doing burial, somebody will just show up with 2 children and they'll be saying, this one too must pour dust. Those things existed even in those days. It's not one gender.
Let me take this call. Let me take this call. Tutu, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning. You're live.
No, I heard your discussion. Very, very. But sometimes I always wonder the kind of human beings we have nowadays. Because, well, it is not new actually. Because I happened to find out from a friend of mine about some months back. He was 49 and even found out that his mother was not his real mother. So it didn't start today. It has been there for a very long time. It has been there for a very long time. Just that social media has made us know the personal lives and personal secrets of a lot of people.
True.
Yes. But
thank you.
I am still trying to gather in my mind is, what was the husband and the wife's relationship like for the woman to come out and say, did you ask me this was your children or not? Because because that we are just hearing that from the woman's part. But how is the marriage like for the woman to go? Right now, as I am, for me to even bring it up as a suggestion, for me to go and know the DNA of my child, it's offensive. My wife will look at me somehow. I can't just wake up one morning and just decide to go to DNA, go and check my DNA. Right. A man that is...
Right. Thank you very much for that comment. Now, I mean, you see, again, I want to go back to the issue of, I'm going to go on a break. I have aunties who have either they married 4 times, and they have like 7 children with 7 different names or 6 different names. Not because something that we're proud of, but it's something that life happened to them. So there was full disclosure. Okay, like Bajai, you know, this one. So all the children still come together.
Those are respectable women.
The person you're married to, your number 3 husband knows that, okay, you brought in 2 children from XYZ.
There's no
and there's
sin
full
remarrying.
disclosure.
There's no sin remarrying.
So why are we now? Why is it
category.
changed now where I have to hide it? And I'll give you this children. That's where I want us to
be crucified.
We have always
hide and give.
We have always had to hide it. I remember then when single mothers had to hide the fact that they had children.
Yes.
Even if it was because they had become widowed, so they could move into another family.
Relationship.
We have a very judgmental and
society.
Almost hypocritical society.
True. Almost.
Where for the woman, she dares not make a mistake. And when she makes a mistake, it's death of that woman.
Yeah.
So women, I think, have found cunny way
to protect
themselves. But it's still not right. Just the way men have had children outside of wedlock, and then they do not say anything about these children until they are grown adults or teenagers, and then they come to the house and say, well, I've done it, it's done now. What do you want me to do to the children? They're here. So it's the same form. For me, I always see it as the same form of betrayal. When the woman brings in a child that she knows deliberately is not her husband, and a man who goes out and has a whole new family without letting that woman know, and then come out of the blue, and then people want to differentiate it. I don't see the difference.
The same thing. What is good for
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll take some tweets, not tweets, some tubes, YouTubes and Facebook, and get more calls. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this issue of DNA. Let's take a few messages from Tube or Facebook.
Biliki says, I beg, we should live through love. Oh. Be honest, Shikina. Akoni said, what do you expect when moral values have been trashed? Sani Musa says, DNA should become a law in Nigeria. If not, there will be a lot of suicides, broken homes, gender-based violence. Brings us to the children.
Tunde Babatunde says, the ladies of nowadays copy their mom's behavior and are doing it better and bigger. Henry Apegil says, DNA test isn't a test for malaria. It's costly and complicated. Not everyone can afford it.
But you think about it, do we put the children at the forefront of this? Because the woman who is not disclosing and the man who may find out later. Either way, are you putting the children first in your reaction? So if you find out your child, your wife's, that your first child does not belong to you, how do you take on that information? Do you consider the child who you've nurtured from birth and say, okay, because I've nurtured this child, I won't flip, I will just find a way to manage the situation? Or you still take the whole thing and just throw caution to the wind and then begin to take action that can negate the love and care you've given this child over the years? Sorry?
Fear quiet men.
Okay. Fear quiet men.
Quiet men. So some men have thought, I don't want to deal with selling the child now. And I don't want to deal, I can't even believe what I would do to this woman, so let me not even touch her. And so they quietly wait it out. They call their lawyers, they draft their will. And they say, nothing. So. It's still the same form of heartbreak, whether they tell you by mouth or you hear from lawyer's mouth that in a document that person you've called father, especially those who have an estate that, you know, they're wondering, so I will not get anything. Some people do that. They'll say, okay, let me help her raise these children and just cover her shame because her shame is mine. That's how they measure it. But the children are still at the receiving end because they find out. And at that point, imagine you being an adult and just finding out, try asking. Or maybe your mom is even late. And then your father that you thought I'd put it in a document that you are not his child. And you're just wondering, who will I ask where my father is? How do I know who I will call my own?
Let me take our back. Good morning, are you there? Oh, I lost that call.
So, Mariah, if it's a case of, you know, there are mistakes that are, I want to categorize them now, put them in levels. There are mistakes that are more manageable. For instance, you were raped and you got pregnant and the baby does not belong to your husband. You know, there's a way you manage that. The men will manage that with a lot of empathy, understanding what has happened and, you know, trying to help the woman heal. But the mistake where you fell pregnant by ex-boyfriend or new boyfriend or side boy, and you now want to mix it into the disappointment will happen to the child, whether you tell him 30 years later, whether the child is aware now. It's even better that the issue is resolved when the children are still small. That way, they face their new reality and then they grow. They understand what has happened. They will resolve the issue with their mother later when they grow. Right. But for you to leave it because you don't want to hurt the feelings of the children, hey, I'm already loving this child, and 30 years down the line, you're waiting for that son to say, you are not my own, go and meet your mother to tell you who your father is. That is the worst thing that can happen to a full-blown man.
I have a message here, but let me take this call first. Lawrence, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
This is my first time of getting through.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting topic. I think what has happened is, over the years, we have forgotten our culture. Before now, if you are coming in with a child into a marriage, you disclose it. You disclose it to your people, to the man you are getting married to. But now, will I call it modernity or what? The ladies or even the men, we don't go back to our parents to say, look, this is what I'm going through, or this is what has happened. We want to just do things on our own. I think the moment we start going back to our culture, most of these things will be sorted out.
Yes, right.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me read this message. This is from a woman. She's saying that when my husband traveled to the U.S., he left me with 2 children, and he comes around twice a year. Somewhere in between there, I had an affair with a man from my office, and I got pregnant with our girl. So she had 2 boys, and the 3rd child belongs to a colleague in the office. And then she had a 4th child, which is another girl. So she said her 3rd child does not belong to her husband, and her husband does not know to date.
Wow.
And with all that's happening, obviously she's scared that he might begin to ask. But she knows that the 3rd child does not belong to the man. Now, so is it empathy we have for this kind of woman? Because the man is abroad. He comes around twice a year. You leave a woman twice a year. At some point, maybe she's finding this colleague in her office very friendly, attentive, gives her attention, and something happened, mistakes happen with a human being, and she got pregnant. Now, she hasn't disclosed to the husband that, I'm pregnant for somebody else, because of societal judgment. Now, how do we help this woman in this situation? Is she at fault, or is she a victim of consequences? Of the consequences that
help women who find themselves in the situation that she put herself, that her marriage, she found herself first. I had a friend whose husband is away, and he was going to be away for a while. We didn't even know how long. It turned out to be a very long time. And I said to her, I said, no matter what you do, stay with your mother-in-law. Stay in that family house. But by the time I went on a break and I came back, she had moved out of the house, and I kept saying to her,
it's not easy now.
There's no, see, we need somebody to help us put ourselves in check. I said, so she'll be like your check. Somebody that will make you keep to time, so that certain things that you just relax on before the mistake happens will not happen, you know? And she felt I was being too hard on her. I minded my business. I think that in this situation, when you now finally find yourself there, full disclosure, and be ready for the consequence. So
what happened in the place of trust, Nima? So you're moving to your mother-in-law's house so that she's helping you, but your husband trusts you.
No, your husband trusts you. You trust your husband. But do you trust yourself? See, there's something called, I don't want to go too religious.
Travels, who is he staying with?
Exactly. Make sure no, that's none of my business.
He's staying with your own.
No, we are missing the point. See, whatever he's doing there, even if it is good or bad, will not affect or influence me to do something good or bad. That's the point.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the one to be questioned. Whether in this world or in the next world, by God. So I don't have a business with how he does. I don't disturb my mind with what my husband does.
Right.
But I'm completely on top of what I do.
Yeah.
And I take full responsibility for what I do.
Right.
So when you bring that kind of conversation to me, I will then feel insulted.
So for your own sake,
honestly, just
for your own sake,
for yourself,
just stay where you know that you can be checked.
for your dignity and your self-respect.
Right.
At least, let's see, we have, like I said before, I don't want to go religious, but we need to be, somebody has to be the guardian of this.
I get
Okay, we have to wrap up on this.
Just on a lighter note, you know that you don't have to do it in your mother-in-law's house.
I don't understand.
No, I'm not saying.
But I get you. But for me,
yourself.
I feel that this is the part where we need to talk about forgiveness, restitution, and moving forward. The truth is that something bad has happened. And the only way, I always think the way forward is to just full disclosure. This is where we are right now. I have made a terrible mistake. I am aware that I have done you so wrong. Right. Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And I believe that where a relationship, there's love and everything is working, sometimes these sort of mistakes don't completely break a marriage.
Exactly.
They would cause serious issues and maybe for a long time, but people have come back from even worse.
Yeah, exactly.
So the thing is, you know, BC talked about empathy. The empathy we expect of women when a man does something like that and comes home saying, my wife, I've done this to you. Please forgive me. Can women expect that sort of empathy when they make mistakes? We're not saying, so I'm not talking of this person that is saying, who told you to assume? Right, no, that's not the sort of woman I'm talking about. I'm talking about a person that is sure that she has made a mistake. Or because I thought things were going bad, I made a stupid mistake. Yeah. Please, I do not want to lose what we already have. We have built something. This is a glitch. We have, that's the sort of conversation.
Let me take this call as we wrap up. Dr. Moyo, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Please, I totally agree with Morayo. I think we need to give women fair hearing. The way we give men fair hearing.
Yeah.
Because in this kind of situation, you see some women that have been married for like 5, 10, or 12 years. They don't have children. They don't even want to know who is at fault or what is happening. If you don't get pregnant this year, they are going to chase you out of the house. They are going to bring another girl into the house and all that. So before you know it now, she'll start thinking in so many ways because she's pressured already. She'll start getting advice from wrong people. And because of that, I'm not justifying, I'm not excusing all those kind of wicked behaviors. But I'm just saying that these are because we don't have empathy or listening ears for women. Don't get pregnant, yeah? Before we chase you out of there, these are things that push women to stand.
Thank you. That's a very good point you just raised. The fact that we put women in a couple are having issues getting married. We don't know whose problem it is. Right? And we're putting a woman under pressure.
Yeah.
She now goes out and go and meets Mr. John. Mr. John gets her pregnant. You now bring a bastard, a child into the house.
When we're even praying in church, we don't pray, we don't call out for fruit of the loins. Miriam has said it here on the show. It's only fruit of the womb, fruit of the womb. It's not from the loins that the womb will have fruit. But I wanted to say that it's enough that you have made a mistake by cheating. Why do you extend it further by getting pregnant? Why? You have made a mistake. You are in marriage.
You can't control pregnancy.
I don't understand. Excuse me?
You can't control.
Excuse me?
How would you know you are pregnant?
We need to call a spade a spade. You have made number one mistake. You have cheated. I think we just need to have conscience and fear God. You now extend it to pregnancy.
How would you know you're pregnant?
I don't understand. When you get pregnant, you don't know.
No, but can I prevent myself from getting pregnant?
Yes, you can.
Of course.
Yes, you can.
That's the easiest part.
So that we know that you're solving the issue.
That's a foolish question.
Let me even laugh. So that we know.
I have to wrap up. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Let me let you wrap up.
So that we know that we are handling one of the sins you have committed. Don't make it two.
Okay. All right. Point taken. I have to run. Yeah.
Nature has put a lot of things on us. We have to deal with resource factor. So if you are getting pregnant doing intended, remember that. Remember that your HPV is also important to you being safe from cervical cancers. So we have a lot that we should be thinking about before you are doing it. Okay, if you are infertile, go for treatment. Don't go.
Okay, that's all we can take on the show. I just hope you learned a few things. I think the most important thing we've gotten from this show is that let's be truthful. Let us have respect for each other. If you're a couple, respect each other and let there be full disclosure. Worst case scenario, he breaks up with you, but at least you know there's no secret in this whole thing. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So join us on the show, on the studio, is to discuss how the state government is tackling the issue of unemployment and poverty alleviation in the state. Who is eligible for the special fund, how to be a beneficiary of different career-driven initiatives under the purview, the terms and conditions and all that. Join us now is the Executive Secretary at the Lagos State Trust Fund, Teju Abisoye. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Lagos State Education and Employment Trust Fund. I'm sorry, education is in my head, but Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Yes, that's what it is. Thank you for joining us on the show. So I know before you came, we're talking about DNAs and all that. So I would be happy to know if DNA, if the scientists or specialists or lab specialists can now start getting jobs for DNA.
When BC suggested it, I thought to myself, now that is a good policy to think about because, again, all we will say at the Employment Trust Fund is new jobs because a new line of business in every hospital just means they have to employ more people.
Exactly.
I think that for us will be our take on it.
Fantastic. So let's talk about employment in Lagos State because we're graduating lawyers, doctors, engineers, business administration, and all that. Are these people employable? And if they aren't, what are the opportunities out there for them within Lagos State?
Thank you for that question. And I think the reality we do recognize across Nigeria, but Lagos in particular, being the economic capital of the commercial nerve center, is that we don't have the right people for the jobs that are available in the market. Across Nigeria, we are graduating doctors, but actually we're training for diaspora.
Yes.
Because, like somebody said, it's the cheapest place to train a doctor. The next thing is to leave. But and we do need doctors here. Definitely we need doctors here. There's no question about it. We still have the lowest per capita per head for a doctor to population. And the second thing is lawyers. We're graduating too many lawyers that the market doesn't need.
Right.
Wow.
Yes, that's a fact.
Oh, yes. And the question then is, what kind of interventions can we begin to think about that would help us make sure that people actually are doing programs that they can get jobs in? And I think that, for us, is one priority for the Lagos State government. So one thing that we're working on is called the Labor Market Information System, which then provides real data, real time, on the employment opportunities in the market. And we can also project for 2-3 years about what kind of jobs will be available in the market. People can get career gap counseling before they take up programs in universities. That's one thing that is very critical.
Yeah. So anytime I hear trust fund, money just comes to my head. So is this different from just doling out cash to people to find their level? Or just tell me exactly what it's about.
Okay, thank you. So the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund was created in 2016 to address the issues around youth unemployment. Nationwide, we recognize that MSMEs actually create over 80% of the jobs. So what the Trust Fund actually does today is we provide support to make sure that businesses can grow. And because of that growth, employ more people. So we provide funding, access to affordable financing for all categories of businesses, mostly nanos, micro, small businesses. And the idea is they can have access to funding at about 9%, which is cheaper, more competitive than commercial rates. And we do this, then provide them advisory support, legal support, capacity development, what we think is necessary to actually help improve their capabilities as a business.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a brother. He and two of his friends have a company, and I know Lagos State helped IT companies. I think they got them paid for rent for about a year. So they were one of the beneficiaries. And, you know, that's a great thing. And I'm wondering, so a person now who comes to Lagos, I didn't school in Lagos, I don't live in Lagos, but I've heard about this trust fund, and I come into Lagos. Where do I go? First step, I'm a graduate of, let's say, business administration. Where do I go first to get the sort of help that you're offering?
Okay, thank you. So the program you spoke about is under our Lagos Innovates program. So what we do under that program is provide support to tech-enabled businesses. And again, we do this by providing access to infrastructure, so they can get a voucher and go and work out of any of our workspace partners. So the idea is we make sure that you don't have to be thinking about broadband, you don't have to be thinking about power. Just face this tech startup of yours and let it blow. Yeah. And, you know, but for us, again, most likely, what we assume is if you want to start a business, you can read LSCTF is your point of call. You can call the Employment Trust Fund website, email, look at what we're offering, and see how you fit into that. If you're tech-enabled, you can get support under the Lagos Innovates program. If you're just a traditional business, you can get access to financing and the support services. And even if it is that I've started my business, I'm looking for people to employ or the skills to get this business going. LSCTF, we also have a program in partnership with different development partners, the UNDP, USADF, and GIZ, where we train young people to get the skills they need to take up jobs in the market.
So what structure of business would you say those who already have businesses can come with? Some people don't keep books. Some people have businesses, karakatani. Some people, they do a lot of social media businesses now. What exactly would you say they should have on ground? What are the things you would look and you say this person qualifies, this person doesn't qualify?
So what we have is we have different categories. We deal with both formalized and informal businesses. We tell people, for us, it's an opportunity to improve inclusion. So people who don't normally use banking services or financial services, if you come to the LSCTF because now you're looking for access to credit, we'll make you qualify because then you get to open an account. What we need is whatever kind of record you have, we come and see that business. So even if it's in your bedroom and you're selling through the window, we want to see the kind of size of that business and what we can support you with to make sure you then get formalized, you begin to run your business. And definitely, if you're formalized, it's much easier. If you already have records and data, everything.
Receipts, booklets?
We use anything. We've used people's book and they've been writing things. We've used all sorts to actually assess people's affordability.
But people find it difficult to engage you because they just like going to the office. Do you have, what's your capacity like? Do you have people out there on the field, or because they get scared of coming to the office and asking questions, feeling they might be rejected. So do you have people on the ground who actually works with these they can actually access them easier?
So yes, we have 26 liaison. Today, as of today, we have 26 liaison offices across different local government LCDAs, which we actually always make sure that they must use their phone 24 hours. So they actually are our activation at the local level. So if Mama Splash applies, I don't know Mama Splash. My liaison officer has to be able to verify. Go to
Mama Splash is authentic.
Mama Splash is authentic. She's selling rice and stew. That's all she sells. But we all eat it, and we're very happy with it.
How would you help Mama Splash who's selling rice and stew? In what way? Would you?
So what kind
of credit would it be, and what would it be towards?
So in some cases, they're trying to buy. Not necessarily. So some of them want to get a bigger space.
Yeah.
They're ready to expand. They don't want people crossing the gutter to take rice and stew. So they need that space. They want to rent, and they can demonstrate that the number of sales they do a day can actually afford up to 500K loan, 1 million loan.
Okay.
But for you to get a $1 million loan, we expect you to formalize your business.
Okay, good.
But what we then do is, if you're not formalized, you get your 500K. We hope that before you come back, we then make sure you go through that formalization process.
Let's talk about where the loan fails, where Mama Splash will let 500,000 and then put it in the business, but she's not prudent. Not that it's not profitable, but because she's not formalized yet, or she doesn't even know, she's not literate, no formal training. And then something goes wrong, and then she's struggling to pay. Is there a way you restructure this so that she can eventually pay without closing the business totally?
Definitely. So one of the things we started when we did to de-risk those loans is actually the training. So we found out that from over 80% of our beneficiaries had no formal training before the LSCTF in terms of bookkeeping, inventory management, understanding profit and loss. This is not profit, it's capital. So we kind of had that session where we then trained them, make sure they kind of at least have a bit of an understanding. Now, for whatever reason, anything can still happen. A business can fail, pandemic. No sales for 3 months. And she has a loan outstanding. That for us, we then have conversations around restructuring, definitely. In some cases, the guarantors actually pay because everybody brings guarantor, a minimum of 1 guarantor. Guarantors then come in and bear the brunt of that facility for them.
Wow.
And of course, there's been some cases where there's absolutely nothing we can do.
Has there ever been an extension of time for payment?
Oh, a lot of people have taken advantage of that. From our first loans till even now, a lot of people have extended their facility.
So let's talk about people who don't want to do business. So you graduate from school, study law or political science, and you don't, business is not in your DNA or your lineage. You just want to get a good job and do it, and you're finding it difficult to get employment. Can they come to you? What do you do to help them?
Thank you. Research also shows that a lot of graduates, everybody wants to first work.
Okay.
In Nigeria, even, you can see it from the numbers and our own data. People between the ages of 18 to 35 had the lowest data set in terms of people that have taken loans. It's more of older people, more experienced that go into business. It's not as rampant as we would like it to be. But people want to work. And what we say is, you want to work. Yes, you've graduated, you're a graduate, you have a degree in whatever. But is that what the market needs?
Yeah.
Today, if you come to the LSCTF, we'll tell you these are the opportunities. These are where people are employing. One of the other things we're partnering with now is digital jobs, digital platform where you can actually freelance.
Yes.
And that one you can freelance across any skill.
Okay.
You're just that you're not tied to one office or the other. But that's the kind of, we'll tell you first, you can do training on any of the vocational skills that we have available.
Are they free?
From the government, totally free. And during the time of training as well, you also get stipends.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And then, because you're supposed to not have a job, you're supposed to really need it.
How tight is it?
It's tight. Very tight. So that, and then of course, the last bit for us is you can freelance, get on the platform. If you don't want to do, most likely do some skills, add some skills that are now more relevant, and get on the digital platform.
So if somebody is a young person is watching right now, can they go to your website and get like a list of available jobs and technical skills that is required in today's market? Can they have to give them an idea because they just graduated, they don't know what to do, and I think okay, maybe I can get options on their website.
I think so. I think what we do is when you want to register, we only register for the courses that are available, that we know that there are placement opportunities for. So you can only register for one of those trainings at the time you go to the platform or the website.
Okay, so initially you talked about like career counseling and for those before they go into university to help them. So given the data that you have, where would you say that young Nigerians going to university should look towards and try to study those courses?
Today?
Yes.
For me, honestly, I would say we need to work on the health sector.
Okay.
I know the challenge is people are not, JAMB would jam you in terms of when you want to do medicine. The expectations are pretty high. And it's valid because, again, we're talking about life.
Yes.
But I think there can be a structure where if you are determined you want to read medicine, let us build a 2-year program.
Like a diploma?
Like a diploma.
To prepare you.
To all those issues around your biology, your physics, let's do it in 2 years. Because this person obviously wants to read medicine for what? Whether it's to jackpot, whatever. The person wants to read medicine. Let's find structures to make sure we can increase the numbers that we're churning out as doctors, as nurses, quality ones.
Okay.
So that, I think for Nigeria, it's definitely a priority. Another thing, of course, today we're talking technical, digital skills, ICT skills.
Analysis, yeah.
Has there ever been issues of corruption on the part of your staff? Why I'm asking is because you have local government offices where somebody now doesn't go on the website and somebody not literate that goes and says, okay, assist me. And he says, oh, well, Mama, we'll get you the money.
Employment
10%.
In fact,
and how do you deal with it?
Thank you. Because, again, we've reported a case to the police. We've had a criminal. We've actually charged somebody before who was collecting consultancy fee to help people apply. And the saddest part for us was it was for low-income schools. And then, the consultant was guaranteeing them at least 500,000, and you give her 10%.
Whoa.
Wow.
We charge that person to court. Again, of course, we then have a whistleblowing policy as well that we please encourage people to use if for any reason anybody is asking for money for anything related to whether the form, whether application, whether processing, it's absolutely free.
But how are your numbers? How many people can you accommodate? Because lots of young people are out there, they're jobless, and they're listening to you and they're thinking, I'm sure they're getting millions of people. I'm just like a tiny dot in this whole gamut of people. That can you assure someone like that they might at least get some kind of attention from your?
I think anybody that applies gets our attention. So our loan portal today is actually automated. So everybody that applies goes through that process.
Okay.
Now it's automated. It's artificial intelligence where the algorithm. There's certain things we're using to actually track if this is true, if this person can afford a loan, so everybody gets attention. Now, where we need to work on, and I will tell you the truth in the LSCTF, is the people that don't pass, how we handle them.
Yes.
Because today, once you get that assessment and you get a positive result, we start processing you for the loan. You get an offer letter. You must do your account. If you don't have an account, we start processing. But the people that don't get through do still need attention. And they actually form the majority. They do form the majority.
So what happens?
Today now we're working on what we're calling being credit readiness.
Okay.
How to access credit. We're doing quite a number in terms of structure to help see that a lot more people can get into that credit bracket as well and take loans, whether for business, whether for student loan. We want to be able to provide that support. The funding people need.
You said student loan?
Student loan.
For school?
For schools, but not all courses.
Okay.
So today we're supporting digital skills, ICT, information technology skills, blockchain, all these things that we know that.
That's in Lagos State universities or universities?
Well, so the training companies are not necessarily universities. They are just accredited by the certificating partners to do those courses in Nigeria.
Short courses.
Yeah.
So let me even ask you this question, because I realize that in your line of work, I'm sure you know the problem bedeviling our educational system, which is a lot of graduates come out and they are not equipped to handle the jobs of today. Is there anything in the plan, maybe in the future, that Lagos State will try to partner with schools to change our curriculums to reflect the jobs of today? We have people still studying typewriting and whatever. And do we have that plan in Lagos State?
So let me, I'm happy Morayo is here again.
The education somebody.
So I also think that, there's certain things that are in the ambit of the state government and certain things that are in federal. Yeah. And basically university education is one. But what Lagos State has done is what we call ready, set, work. And that's where they work with the students in their penultimate year. Okay. To begin to take them through different skills that are relevant for them to get into the job market. So soft skills, they get people, management consultancy, to talk to people around. It's not just being a lawyer. Now you need to be an entrepreneur. Because when you think like that, you think of your career in terms of entrepreneurship. And a lot can be done even in that space rather than... I know that we definitely...
the rejig
something about curriculum, definitely.
So I know some people are enjoying this conversation, but they don't want to get to that point. This is not to discourage taking the loan. This is to make a person taking the loan have an entire idea of what will happen. So this is not a loan that you take and don't pay back. You know, Nigerians, so what exactly will happen?
Let me even add to that question, because former President Jonathan did something recently. Which you win. And one of the complaints was that they would get it, but they didn't use it for the business. They wanted that money. It was free money for them. So it messed up that entire program. So have you taken any lessons from that experience to ensure that the money is adequately used? Or if they don't use it, what happens?
So I worked on UWIN, actually, before I came to LSCTF. So UWIN was a grant program. Okay. And UWIN's objective really was to diversify the economy. encourage and promote entrepreneurship. And the numbers that we have seen since 2013, 2015, in terms of people now going into entrepreneurship, has actually demonstrated it's actually kind of achieved its objective.
Okay.
A lot more people are interested. Businesses spring up almost every day now because, you know, there's an opportunity.
Right.
But I'm not saying that the plan was to lose the money. The plan was to build those businesses and see them succeed. Now, for us at LSCTF, it's a loan. So you will get an offer letter that you will sign that says you will repay with a schedule that shows your repayment schedule on a monthly basis. Now, you sign off to that, and then we track you. Today, what we also do is that your accounts, your BVN, are actually tied to the platform, and we automatically sweep. The CBN has also helped our matters. There's something called JSI now. If you default, we can sweep against BVN. So you can't put money in another bank and say, oh, let me hide this somewhere.
Yes.
But we will first follow up with you about what's the issue, why you're not paying. We will send somebody to visit, verify your
guarantor.
Then next, your guarantor. You know,
That's the way no can get guarantor.
there's no, you can't get
You have to drop from heaven.
You drop from heaven. You know that. You know, somebody said something to us when we were saying that, okay, what if you can't get it? He said, if you cannot get a guarantor, that means you have no social collateral.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yes.
And that's the truth. So why you...
That's the truth.
Then so, in fact, how can you run a business?
How do you
Okay,
live?
somebody would look at that and compare it to how you'd ask fresh graduates for business experience, work experience.
5 years.
So we have a lot of Nigerians who haven't gotten, since they graduated, haven't gotten a job. They've been home and really just being domesticated, and they've now heard about this and they're coming to you. So they really don't have maybe someone who will be an eligible guarantor.
For a business, so take a skill. There's an option. There's an option, you know. And then if under the Lagos Innovate program, it's not a loan. These are grant programs.
Yes.
So if you already have a business that you believe would qualify, and what you're looking for is business space, you understand? Access to talent. So that is a grant program. So they're different. They're a bouquet of things that people can get access to.
Before I let you go, because we'll be wrapping up soon, I think you've not answered a question I think that was asked earlier. Give us an idea of what's out there.
Okay.
You know, you've talked about digital and the healthcare sector. What else should young people be looking forward to? What are the areas? Because I know that even in entertainment, there are now makeup artists, there are writers, scripting. There's so many other jobs that nobody's been thinking about.
So I think one of the things that, again, of what helped us, what COVID pandemic also helped us to realize is that you can actually pivot. You can change your career.
Yes.
At any point.
Very, very true. So I think that, again, the truth, like you rightly said, there's a lot going on in entertainment. There's a lot going on in media. There's a lot going on. Digital marketing is hot.
To tax it now.
This is,
FIRS want to tax it.
we have to.
That's a different topic. Digital sector is really huge.
I think it's huge. And I think there are many opportunities. And I think even, so what we call vocational, or what we call vocational training, some people just see it as artisans, but I like a term, and I haven't been able to, Morayo used the term in a discussion, and said, technical expertise.
That makes sense.
So even if you're a hairdresser, the technical expertise you must have.
It's important to change them, because anytime you say vocational, I just think of carpentry.
Exactly.
Organizer.
So when we think about it, so I think things like that, where it's labor, a lot of those skills are still very relevant. I think what we talk about, body, beauty, creatives, we know are skills that are important right now. Labor-intensive skills around laundry. Very quick to take up skills, but we're seeing them.
Construction work.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Tilers.
Look, somebody mentioned to us how what they had projected to tile for 6 months was taking them 18 months, and they still hadn't concluded because they couldn't find enough tilers who could do the job. So we're working with them right now to supply skills for that particular building and construction. Because those are when people come to us, that's the kind of solution we provide. We want to help you solve where you're having a skill gap.
You just said something that just comes to my mind. So are you saying that there could be company owners or manufacturers right now listening to you and think, okay, I'm looking for workers. Can I come to you and say, okay, I need you to source for 1,500 workers in this various fields? Is that something you can also provide?
That's what we do, 100%. So what we then do immediately is work with a training center to make sure that the curriculum they're providing matches what the company is looking for. And they start training those people. And the best part for us with that is that then they get to work at that company immediately. They don't even have to wait anymore. There's almost guaranteed placement as long as you get the certification from that training.
That is what the university should be doing.
So projections, what are you looking at? How many people are you hoping to employ in the next year, 2 years? Give us some numbers that we can look forward to.
Okay, so for us, till date, actually, we've been able to support about 25,000 businesses around our gamut of offerings. But we want to do a lot more. What we're thinking, what we wanted, this year alone, we were hoping to do at least 60,000. But again, COVID, and there's been a lot of, I think, fear for people don't really want to take loans at the moment. More people are interested in grants. And we have grants program running right now for businesses as well to recover from COVID. So we're calling it the COVID Action Recovery Economic Stimulus Program, where we're going to be supporting we're hoping to support at least over 2,500 businesses in Lagos for operational grants, credit grants, and IT enhancement grants. Because again, IT helps to make businesses more resilient, and we can increase revenues. But overall, our targets in this market is to be able to create at least 100,000 plus direct and indirect jobs in the next 12 months.
Fantastic. Thank you. I think you're doing a good job. We'll be calling you once in a while to give us a review, because the truth is that we want to support every cause to get young people employed. It's important that we get these children off the streets, get them equipped and ready to take on the world. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, ladies, that's all we can take on the show today. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.